Hey guys, we are live. Welcome to the stream, and we are going to do some more development work on Groenland. And today we are looking at the inventory. Okay, at the moment we have updated our widgets here for temperature, food. We have our radials, which we haven't got live yet, but we are going to use them. Food, water, energy, temperature. Okay, we now have, hi legend, working away on it, mate. You can see here that we've now got a nice HUD with the hunger, water, energy and temperature, and we now have a interactive item. I have done an interactive item and there's nothing happening at the moment except for inspect, and that's something we're going to work on because we're working on the inventory. Okay, and from the inventory we have our interactable items, our interactable types. The movement and stuff was something I didn't do. I have a partner in this project who is basically doing a lot of that kind of stuff. I help out, but yeah, I do a lot of the sort of coding stuff. So we are working on the inventory, and in our inventory main, unfortunately today I had a bit of a disaster because I had part of the inventory working and then I had a power outage and then I didn't anymore. I lost basically all the stuff that I had been working on regarding the inventory. But anyway, we don't want to concentrate too much on that, and we can just basically get stuff back running. So I'm going to put it back the way I remember, if I can, and so what we're going to do is we're going to split it into 3 sections. Okay, first section is going to be the buttons for the type of item to be shown in your inventory grid. Then on the right hand side will be an inspection pane where you'll be able to view the item that you have selected in the grid. Okay, so we shall start from basically nothing and work from there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to have is a grid panel, which is going to go in there, and our vertical box, we're going to set it to fill at 10%. Our grid panel, we're going to set it to fill at, let's say to start off with, we'll go 60%. And then we are going to have We're probably going to have the same thing again. We're going to have to probably wrap these in canvas panels, but we'll just work with this for now just to get a basic idea of what we're doing. So we'll say VB for vertical box, and we'll call it inspection, and that's going to be a variable. Then for our grid panel, we're going to have GP. Oh yes, right. Some of it comes from an asset. Some of the movement stuff comes from an asset called Infinity Weather. So this is going to be grid panel inventory slots, and that is going to be a variable, and this is going to be VB for vertical box, and this is going to be item type. Okay. Okay, so there we go. And our image is going to be in our inspection. Our canvas panel is going to be full size. So that's going to be 0 and 0 and 0 and 0. Okay. Then in here we're going to have buttons. Okay. And we don't. We'll set these up later, but if we go to flat icons, right, we just want 128s and then icon, and the first one we're going to do is, I've got no idea, we're just going to try and find something that looks like a backpack, hopefully. Something looks like a backpack. Give me a backpack, that'll do it. Right, this one will do. That can go in there. Then this horizontal box, it's going to go to full. Offset right will be there. Offset bottom now. There we go. And we'll duplicate that. We're going to pull the size down on this to 96 by 96. We shall probably do a bit of coding to sort that out a bit. Right. And we shall also need to rename these. Okie doke. Now, yeah, probably do it like that, and same there. We'll put a bit of a space in between them. We might actually want to end up wrapping these in a border, but in the meantime we shall set these to a kind of grey. We'll OK that, we'll copy that, we'll paste that. So this next one is going to be like a food, right? So we'll go with this. This is probably going to change it to there. We'll go 96, 96, right? And we probably need a What we need is a spacer, I guess, at the bottom, I guess. That's wrong. And probably we'll just need a 50 at the bottom there. Right. So duplicate that. Duplicate that. Duplicate that. This is just me prototyping at the moment, but I'm sure we'll get there in the end. So this one isn't going to be food, it's going to be more like clothing, I suppose. Whoopsie doopsie. Let's see what we've got here. We can probably go with this. That looks good to me. 96, 96. We're going to end up giving these each type. So we need, I think there's one here that we want which is like a fuel, but it's more like a flame. Alright, it's obviously not that one. What about simple shapes? Ain't that one either. Right, it's not apparently sport either. We have one that's tools, so we could use one as tools. Right, so we could go with that. Go 96, 96. And there was one that was fire. I don't know if it was in here or not. It might have been. Apparently not. It's not going to be in traffic, I know that. And it's not there either. It wasn't in nature. I don't think it's going to be in here. Right. It's not going to be that. It's not there. Definitely not there. I'm guessing it's not going to be in arrows or avatar. And it's not going to be in bottles. I remember doing this earlier this morning. Okie dokie. Right, that's just emojis. That's no good to us either. Let's look, see if there's a fiery thing. Not there. Ah, here we go. Right. So I would go with this. In fact, I would go with this. So we go 96, 96, So this is going to be our inspection area where it's going to show the shield or whatever it is you've got selected, right? So we can go with that. I don't know if we're going to use this background, but okay. So the next thing while we're prototyping here is we're going to save all. Okay. And we're not going to do this. Well, we are, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a variable, and we're going to have call count, column count, and that's going to be an integer. And then we're going to have a row count. I need to duplicate it first, of course, so we'll change that back to call count. Then duplicate that. Then we'll do row count. Right. And what we're going to do here is we're going to have a look. Well, let's have a look at it just now, right? And we'll see what we've got. Right. So if this is 96, right? We can probably do these at a double size. Now, if we're saying 60%, then 60% of 1920 is 6 times. Right. Okay. Whatever. What we'll do is we'll go back to our graph. Right. And we'll get data row names. We're going to do this as a test first. Now we've got this inventory slot and this ref parent. Yeah, we might need it, but we're going to go to the inventory slot anyway. And what we're going to do is we're going to add another variable, and it's going to be called struct item, and it's going to be struct, I believe it might not be this one. In fact, I don't think it is. No, it isn't. Enter. It's struct interactable item. Okay, and that's going to give us all the stuff we need: the item name, the item type, the widget. Widget. The mesh and the image. The mesh that we can use to pass that into our render target so that we can get the image of the item we're talking about. Right. So if we come back to here, HDT interactable items. Now this is going to change to what's in your actual inventory once we've done that, but for the moment we can work off what is in the inventory interactables table. So we can say for each and loop around them, and then just basically add all our items in that table to our slots. Okay, then we can basically test it as well. We see get data table row, we plug that in, then if we drag this down, this item here, we're going to expose it on spawn, so we can pass struct through. So we refresh the nodes here, this gives us our struct, and then we can basically create the rest of the individual slots, plus we can tell it what the item mesh is for the inspection. Okay, so now that we've done that, we basically grab our GP inventory slots, and then we add child to grid, and then we say call count, and we say row count. Okay, we save that, and because we've only got one at the moment, well, let's see what happens, shall we? We'll hit save all first. Right, and now you can see that we have some stuff on the screen. Not perfect yet by any means, but we're gradually going to work our magic. Right, and the problem at the moment is that our actual inventory slot is nothing, right? So we're going to have to do a bit of work on this, I believe. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to slap on a border, then we're going to slap on a button, right? And our border is going to be centered, and it's going to be size to content, and we're going to have a black border, and we're going to set the Z order to -1, so that whatever we get right So we're going to say button item and we now need to go into our code and get our button item, and we're going to have to set the style, and our style we're going to make a slate brush, and we're going to say 192 by 192, and our image is going to come off the struct item, and we're going to break that. Now we can get the name and the type and all the rest of it from this, and we're going to do that. That plugs that into there. And fundamentally, we're just going to duplicate this and duplicate that. And then we can drag this down. We can set this up later as variables and store them as slate brushes, and then use them as standard ones. But for the moment, excuse me. Okay, so save all. Right, press play. Inventory. We have our first item up there, as you see. Unfortunately, we don't have an image. And that is because I don't think our image, I think we've lost our image, basically. I'm going to check this. If we go to here, yeah, we do have an icon. So that's a bit weird. Image. So we're using this shield as a test. It doesn't seem to be working. So we'll add a breakpoint here. Alright, so if we hit I, there we go. Apparently we don't have anything. Well, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Texture image. So that's working. Helps if I plug this in. That would be an issue. Resume that. There we go. probably too big for now. I would say we go 148. And this is why it's a good idea to set these up. Right? So what I could do here is a vector 2 structure. So we could say image size right, and vector 2D. Save that, and basically we can say 148, 148. Okay, compile that, drag that into there, and to there, and to there, and that begins to show you the why making these into variables is a pretty good idea. Right. And we can now stop this. And there we have it. Okay. So what we're going to do is gradually build on this. And I would probably say that they're still a bit big. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our image size, right, and I'm going to go 128 by 128. Drag that up, drag that over, drag this over a bit, save that, okay. Yeah, to me that's looking a lot better. Escape that. Go back to here, and with this we're going to test out our call count, etc. So basically say call count, get call count, and increment okay, and then we say if that is greater now. Again, we could use variables here for the maximum number of columns. At the moment though, we're going to go with 5, which means if it's greater than 4 we're going to branch, and then we're going to say row count and we're going to get row count, and then we're going to add 1, and we set that there, and we set call count back to 0. Okie dokie. We can do that, then we can do that, save that, okay, and where were we? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a for loop, and we're going to do it 23 times, and we should get a grid. And there we go. Okay. So that's working a treat. And now what we can do in inventory main, is I think we can wrap this with a border. Yep. And then we can make our border black. Okay. So there we go. That's going nicely. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that for now. And we want the fuel. Okay. Hi, Tandra 389, how you doing? Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to delete the inspection, right? Now, let me show you what the inspection is. Right, the inspection is basically the render target, okay? And what we really want to do is, no, I don't think so. It's way too much for a phone. Right, so this is going to be the object that you've selected within the inventory, okay? But until you've selected that, we're not actually going to have a render target, okay? So I've got to actually find out if doing that is going to screw things up. Okay, now I'm hoping that this does nothing. Yeah, it's basically the last setting for the render target. It's the last texture it saved. Right. Okay, that's fine. We can sort that out. Right. Now what I want to do here is go to our render target object and we want to basically remove this mesh. Okay. Oopsie, didn't want to do that. Not that it matters. I'm going to change this. Okay, we can live with that. And we'll have a look at the other shields. And we'll pick a pretty shield. Right, that looks nice, doesn't it? Well, that one, that's a bit bland. That looks quite cool. How about these ones? Yeah, it's alright. I suppose that's kind of Viking, isn't it? Really? Yeah, shield 2, I suppose. It's a nice one. Shield 2 or 9. Right, either way, BP inspection, that's nothing. We need to go to our here and basically pick shield 9. Save that. Okay. And I wonder there is a way you can do this, but I can't remember what it is. You can basically get a screenshot of it. Damn it, I did this not long ago. Anyway, not to worry, not the point. Right. Not to worry, not the point. The point now is to create this thing. Okay, so if we go back to our blueprint, I'm getting a bit confused with myself here. What we can do is say mesh right, and it's going to be a static mesh. and we're going to be able to pass it in. Right, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our inventory slot, and we're going to go to our button item, and we're going to say on clicked. And we're going to get our struct item, we're going to break it, and we only need the mesh. We can do that in a minute. Right, so we're going to say spawn actor, okay. Now what we could do is when they open the inventory we could spawn this and then just change the mesh. This is going to be BP inspection, and that's going to give us the mesh, and we just pass in the mesh and spawn transform, and the location is basically going to be under the ground anywhere as long as it's far away. Okay, and then what we're going to do is in here we're going to get object mesh, and we're going to set static mesh. Excuse me. And that is going to go in there. Okay. Now we are going to control this mesh in a minute. We're going to control the rotation and stuff, but I'm just wanting to get this working first. Now this is just a movement component that spins it round, which gives us a sense that something's happening, and make sure we can check it. Okay. So if we now press play and hit our inventory, and on our inventory main once we've completed show cursor, and we need to get the player controller right. Oh yeah, right. And okie dokie, there we go. and that's now showing 2 render targets, so that's an obvious issue that we need to fix out, but that shouldn't be too difficult. So guys, if you're enjoying the stream, hit like, subscribe. I should be back in a minute. Check out the description for my previous game as well as Patreon. And if any of you guys have subscribed, then thank you for subscribing. I shall be back in 2 minutes when we're going to sort out our render target. Okay guys, we are back. And thank you for the subscribing. I believe Hilda Ramos and Les Archives de Comte de Toluca. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Anyway, back to what we're doing. Right, so our inventory is beginning to look kind of alright. What we can now do is add a couple of other things. And not that we're necessarily going to use them, right? But we can say shield 1, let's say, right? I'm just basically using assets that I know are already there. I know that the shields are there, okay? So item name, we're going for shield, and we'll say weapon, that's okay. We'll go with that. We haven't got an image, so, but we can go for a shield. I believe. Has this got a shield? Yeah, it has. Right, okay, so shield 3. Okay, and this first one, I'm going to change this. And we'll go for something completely different, just to make it obvious. Okay. And the mesh for this one, we'll just go for something daft. Right, we'll just go for that shield. Then this one here, we're going to go shield again. How come? That's weird. There must be more than one shield here, or one set of shields. Right. And we shall call this basic shield. Now we can use this item name in our item descriptor. Okay. And we're going for shield again. And what the heck, it doesn't really matter. And here we shall go for shield again. Right, but we'll just go for that, that'll do. We'll save that. And now in here we're going to have to cut this down to like 7. Right. And there we go. Now if we click on that, right, we get a shield. Then we get 2 shields. Now are they the same shield? I don't think so, but we'll see in a minute. Right, I'll tell you what we'll do, we'll stop that for now. Right, we'll go to our BP inspection. We'll get our rotating movement, and we're going to stop it rotating on the Y, because that's really screwing us up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, when we create our thing, we're going to get all, we're not going to fet them, we're going to get all actors of class I'm going to say BP inspection. Okay. and then we're going to grab the length, and if the length is greater than 0, then we're going to branch right, and we are going to muck about with this in a minute, but give me a second. Right, as I said, we're just basically prototyping and building things out here to make it gradually better and better, right? And this is going to be actually, if it's false, we create it, right? And if it's this is going to have to go here. Okay, that can go to there, that can go to there, and we're going to save this. Then we're going to go to inspection, okay, and we're going to say custom event, and we're going to say update mesh, okay, and we're basically going to put that there, and we're going to delete that, and then in here we're going to add an input of a mesh for the new mesh that we're going to actually change it to static mesh. Alright, then that is going to go there. We're going to save that. Then object mesh is going to go there. Then we're going to compile that. Then we're going to go back to our inventory. And then if this, we're going to get copy. And it's going to be copy 0. And we're going to say update mesh. And that's going to go off true. And then we're going to get this. And this is going to go up here. Okay. And that sorts that out. So we still need to delete it. Delete the BP inspection if we need to, but that should get us going in the meantime. And thank you very much, Dragon D Lionheart, for the subscribe. That's very kind of you. I appreciate it a lot. And now we shall test it. And yeah. Okay. Now the question is, that is changing, by the way. Right, we need to get a rotating thing again, and I think it's because the actual item's rotated. I need to have a look at that, but I need to slow down so I'm not making a mess of it. Now, that's weird. And I keep managing to pick the wrong direction to rotate in. Let me have a look. I mean, this isn't actually going to matter in the end. I think we do want it on Z. Oh, 0. Alright, we'll just set it there. Yeah, I've got the whole thing rotated, which is causing an issue. Right, as I said, this is going to get changed anyway because you're going to be able to move it with your mouse, but yeah, there we go. Right. And that's different. Let's have a look at this. So that's that one, that's that one. Right, but it looks like this one isn't working, which is the third one. Except it is. But it looks like yeah, that's weird. Weird indeed. Let me just have another look at this. Right, so that is correct. There's nothing there, okay? Now, when we click that, that should have brought up our first. So 0 isn't working, right? About 3 years. 3 years dead shot. Right, so basically, for some reason, the first time we click it, it's not doing it. Right, but it's working after that fine. Okay. I think the slight flashing, I've been programming for about 45 years. Right, Unreal Engine for about 3. I tinkered about with Unity for a little while. I did Xbox 360. I did an indie game for that. But that was just a case of did it because I could. Or actually it wasn't because I could, it was more to see if I could. Which I did. So yeah, there's that. Right, so what I'm thinking here is there's definitely something, right, that is interfering. Right, the object mesh is at 0, right? So our light should be at 0. Okay. So the bit that's annoying me at the moment, believe it or not, is the freaking slot. Right. Because they're all joined up together and it's annoying me. Right. And that didn't make any difference. And that's probably because right, I think we need to wrap this, because the border hasn't got, it's the border itself that does not have any padding on it, right? So basically I would have to wrap this border, let's say, with another border, and now this border can have the padding on it, right? And then we can basically set the padding for that to 0, right? Because it's inside the border and it doesn't need padding, because the border has padding in theory, unless I've got this completely wrong, which is fairly possible. Now the interesting thing is, why is it white? I'm guessing it's because the image is white. Right, and that actually should be an image. And that's still not doing it per se. Right, let's press that button again. Right, that does nothing. Press that one and that works fine. Alright, so it appears to me that the only one that doesn't work is button 0. Right, which should be easy to fix because it's a fairly obvious one that doesn't work. Right? So, but we're not going to worry about that. This blooming. Right, there's a border here that's white, and it shouldn't be white. Right, the border should be black. And this border should be black. Let's see if that sorts the issue. Are you working on something yourself at the moment, Deadshot, or? Well, that's good. Ah. Yeah, okay. Okay, okay. And that's -1. Okay, whatever. And what are you working on? Is it Unreal Engine, or are you using Unity, or what's the game about? What's the story? Right, this is because the content color should not be black. Right, I keep getting myself confused on this one. Right, this is the content color of that and that. Right. All right. Is it your first ever game? Right, okay, so that's better. We're getting our thing. Not exactly what we wanted, but we're getting our thing. I think I actually deleted the wrong border. Is it an online game? And if it is, I'm about to not admonish you. I'm going to tell you that you're rather optimistic. For a first game, to do it as a network game is not a wise thing. Okay. I mean, apparently I've screwed this up. Oh, I hate when I screw it up. There we go. Right, now we've got something a bit better. Right. Yeah, that's what I would suggest. That you work on other more manageable things first before you go for your opus magnum. Right. But we do have a kind of working example here. I'm going to go into the graph and I'm going to check to see if when we press the first button what it's actually doing and what actual image is getting passed to our inspection thing. Right, so we've not hit that yet, which is exactly what we want. And it appears to not be an issue at all. It's actually the position of it. It was just, I think, because it was under this text and there's something going on with that it wasn't working. Right, but you can see here that this is actually working. No, there's two of us. The other guy right now is working on the level design and all of that good stuff. Right, this is just a level for us to play about in. It's not the actual level, but I needed stuff in a test level to play around with. So, with that in mind, what do I need to do here? Right, so we've basically got the fundamentals of it working, okay? Now, the one thing that I need to do here is, I know this from experience, is if I add, let's say we multiply that by 20, right? So this is going to give us 60 different slots, right? And you'll notice that it goes off the bottom of the screen, which is not what we want, okay? So I'm going to hit the button for now, and what we're going to do is, this is our inventory main, we're going to go to our GP slots and we're going to wrap it with a canvas panel, and that canvas panel is going to be staying like that, and then we're going to row with a scroll box, right, and that's going to be full, and we're going to say 0. Hey, it's time for the box. Right, and this canvas panel is going to be fine, right, and that's going to be 0, except what we're going to do is we're going to offset it for the top by, let's say, 50. In fact, we're probably going to offset this from the top by 100. Unreal 4.27. Right, and we're going to offset it from the bottom 100, right, and we're going to have our scroll bar going down here, right, and then this is going to stay as it is, I believe. And there we go. We have a scroll bar. this is working fine. Why haven't I switched to Unreal Engine 5? If you check the rest of my channel, you'll see a video on it why I don't change yet. I made the video because everybody always asks me, so I made the video. Right, so as you can see here, this is quite cool. We're beginning to get something that looks like, we can swap these about later, fix them, but you can see that this is beginning to take shape. Okay, and if we go to here again, we can offset this and this is going to give us a much tidier Oh yeah, by the way guys, if any of you guys are new to Unreal Engine or Unity or anything like that, actually, any engine, one of the first things that I advise people to do is to do a fully functional main menu, and to basically copy a menu that you're very familiar with. Say you play Call of Duty all the time, or say you play Skyrim all the time, or something like that. It doesn't really matter what it is. It could be Sonic the Hedgehog, could be any game. Is to copy it exactly, right? It's good practice, because widgets, especially in Unreal Engine, it's good to get used to them, right? Now, there's no reason why you can't do it with an inventory as well, or an options page, because I'm taking this directly from, or not directly from, but I'm getting an idea. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you right now. From this, right? So we've got our buttons on the right, okay? And then we've got our inventory, individual inventory slots. And then we've got our inspect thing here. Now, I don't know if this actually is an inspection thing or not. I can't remember. If you can move this about or if it's just an image, right? But I kind of take a look at things like this, get an idea from it, and then take it from there, right? Now, I don't study this in huge detail because I don't want to get focused down one road where I'm trying to make it exactly the same, right? So I just kind of have a look at it every now and again and go, okay, we've got objects on the right, we've got that. And then after that, I basically do it to how I want it, right? So I take brief looks at the type of thing that I like and works, and then just basically go from there, right? Now, what I'm going to do in the inventory here is I'm going to set up a variable, okay? And what it's going to do is I'm basically going to set, okay, let me explain. Right. So when we do this, right, we've got nothing selected, right? We haven't selected an item yet, okay? But we get this. This might be okay actually, right? Because what we could do, right, okay, different solution. Probably easier solution in fact, right? If we go to our inspection, right, we go to our pane at the back, and what I want, I might need to create it, is a black, just a black material, right? And I don't know, it appears we don't have just a black material. Right, I don't know what that is, I just picked it. Right, and what we'll do is we'll browse to this, and since we're keeping everything, this is all the render targets and material, right? What we'll do is we'll create another material, right, and we'll just call it matte black inspection. Okay, so that's obviously for an explosion, right? So we don't really want that. And what we really want is that. But that is nothing at the moment, but we shall sort that out in a second. And we are just going to go for vector vector 3, right, and basically it's that. Save. And before anybody gets upset, which some people do for some reason, it's not that I'm never going to use Unreal Engine 5, it's just I'm not using it yet for various reasons, okay? Right. So now that we have done our material, I'm not even sure what we get if we put no material, right? Right, apparently it doesn't like that. Right, for some unknown reason. Well, that kind of looks black to me. Interesting. Right. So, our slight issue now, I'm beginning to think, right, just hang on a second here. Right, let's do that. I want to know what we can see. Right. Okay. Okay. Here's the interesting thing here. I want to only show I only want to show our object. I don't want to show anything else. Right? So I might need, I'm just wondering if I need to mask it. And I'm not 100% sure how to do this. And this is where I start playing with materials and messing it all up. And we can see how this goes. Probably not very well. This probably needs me to actually do a bit of checking on my other materials. Well, I'll say this, it's bleeding close. Is that any different? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's actually any different. Well, let's muck about it and find out, shall we? Well, there's that, okay? And it's given us the black. Right, so it doesn't, that doesn't work. That gives us an error. That also gives us an error. And that gives us an error. I'm just wondering if we do that, what do we get? Not a sodden lot. Ah. Alright, okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that for now and put it back the way it was. Right, now the mask obviously did something, it darkened whatever was round about this. Right, now I'm just wondering if I go with this again, if I actually move this closer or something, or further away or whatever, how it's going to affect it, right? And these are the little bits you get to play with. Yeah, you see this is really black now, right? Now it is too close because it's actually going through this shield. Right, but what I'm thinking here is this material needs to be metallic 0. Right, sticky mouse. So constant. Right, and this is also we need another constant, and this is going to be a 1 on the roughness. So basically we want it as unreflective as possible and unmetallic as possible, right? That's my thoughts on this one. And there we go. How's about that, guys? You like it? Now the point here is we can go to here and move our camera in a bit. And there we have it. Okay. I hope you guys like that, because I kinda do. And we still have our nice scroll bar. We have our different object types which we can program. Obviously the hover isn't right yet, but we can fix that. Our buttons are working. Right, so we can change which item we're looking at. Now I'm just wondering if, right, let's make it a bit more obvious what's going on here for anybody that kinda doesn't get it yet. If we change this and do sword, right, I've got no idea what this sword looks like. I may need to actually set like a scale on this, because if the swords are in the wrong scale or any of the items are in the wrong scale, then I'm obviously going to have to change them, right? but in theory, right, so there we have our sword, right? But so we need like a rotation and a starting rotation and a starting scale, right, so that we can actually put the items in the right place if the pivot points etc are not in the right place for us. But I think at the moment what we've got, and I'll show you, if we look at our BP inspection and the actual object, you'll notice that it's got a 90 degree, so we don't want that really. So basically our rotation should be 0, 0, 0, and then we can update it depending on all of our stuff in our data table, right? So that we can move things and rotate them and scale them when and where it's necessary, right? So you'll notice this is now rotating differently. Now I'm probably going to have to wrap the item in a scene component so that things rotate properly, right? So you'll see, you know, probably now the rotation should be on the Z, right? So this rotation movement should no longer be on the X, it should be on the Z, even though we're going to change this anyway, but we'll make it slightly faster, right? Right, so you know, that's how I would expect the sword to be doing it. And there we have our. Now one of the reasons I did a little bit of offset down the way is I'm probably going to have some title stuff in the top, right? So fundamentally what we could do is, if we go to our inventory main designer, right, then in this canvas panel, under normal circumstances, what I would probably do here is make this a vertical box, but for the sake of just getting something for you guys to view, I would do that, right? And then I would say inventory slots, let's say. And I mean, basically we could quite simply do it like that, but as I said, I'll probably amend this and add it into a vertical box so it aligns properly anyway. But fundamentally, do we have, oh, we have quite a lot, yeah, There we've got inventory slots in some kind of Norse font. That looks very Skyrim-y to me. Not that I've played Skyrim more than half an hour, but has that got a bold? No. What else have we got here? That's a bit... Right, so I don't think any of them are going... What's this? Faracle. Ah, right, okay. Okay. I know where that's getting used. I was wondering if they had this as a font or not. Right, but I don't know whether I like that one or that one. To be quite honest, I kind of like the bold one better. Right, so basically, to round off, let's have a look at what we've got. We've got our inventory slots. And we've got our items which we can display. We've got our sword, which is rather nice. And we can take a screenshot, which I'm going to send it to my partner in crime, and he can yay or nay. But there you have it, guys. So I hope you've enjoyed that and you've learnt something. Or maybe you've learned how not to do something. Either way, all good. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for any questions or comments. Interaction makes it interesting for me and probably a lot more interesting for you. So if you've enjoyed it, hit the like, subscribe. Check the description for my previous game on Steam and links to Patreon, which you can get your name in the credits for, of the game, and Discord. You can join the Discord. So thanks again for watching. I shall see you tonight at about between 8 and 9 PM Central. Bye bye for now.